And for more perspective on the state of spend of the U.S. consumer, we're joined by Britt Beemer, chairman and founder of America's Research Group. Britt, thanks for joining us tonight.
Well, Michelle, thank you for having me.
So, Britt, Americans stepped up their spending in November, up 0.5%. Do you think this is fresh evidence that the U.S. recovery is continuing to gain some traction here?
I don't think so. I think the growth in November is directly tied to the fact that 58% of consumers shopped on Thursday night and Friday morning on Black Friday, and they bought something before 6:30, and it was by far the largest day ever of that many shoppers buying in a 24-hour window. And I think all the numbers that I say would suggest that it was all driven by those that 24-hour period.
So a once-off day event, you don't see this as an overall trend. Now, something else that was also a little disconcerting is that personal income increased by just 0.2% in November after falling in October, and consumers actually dipped into their savings to maintain their spending. That's according to the Commerce Department. Is this a concern? Do we have consumer spending from saving, or worse, from credit? Is this going to lead us back to the credit crisis?
Well, it could, but I'll just say a couple things. Our research showed that more consumers this year use their credit cards than they have in the last 2 years, still way under what we saw 5 or 6 years ago. And the consumers that did use their credit cards said that they spent a little bit more than they planned, although still about 65% of consumers are pretty adamant about staying away from their credit cards as much as possible. And that's a much higher number in the old days when that was only like 43 or 44. So I think the credit card issues is actually what helped the retail sector this year have the kind of sales it had, because what happened is this year almost 15 gifts per family were being bought this year compared to 11 last year. Although they spent a little bit less on each gift, the amount of money they spent was overall was up slightly. So the fact is that credit cards allowed consumers to buy more gifts for more people, and that's why sales are up.
Let's talk about which retailers are looking to see some merriment at their cash registers. Which retailers are poised to do best this holiday season?
Well, our numbers showed that Walmart did the best job keeping their customers. 88% of Walmart's customers came back and bought from them this year. They were by far the top. So Dollar Tree was second at 80%. Target was third at 72%, which was a pretty good number when you consider all the trouble they had. But I think what saved Target is because they were so proactive on the 10% discount on Saturday and Sunday. Many consumers forgave them for the breach of security. Macy's also did a much better job keeping their customers back, but they did that with a very promotional calendar this year.
Well, one of the big trends that we saw is mobile shopping. That's also been added to the mix. In fact, the number of purchases made via mobile device tripled to the previous year's level. Overall, online shopping was a record 66 million on Black Friday. Why do you see this growth in online spending, and in particular in mobile shopping?
Well, I think the whole digital couponing world is the way of the future. You know, every time another retailer jumps on, adds digital couponing, you see another million persons take on the program. As you know, digital couponing began first in the supermarket industry and is now becoming mainstream. You know, Target, CVS were the very first retailers outside the supermarkets to get into the category. I think you'll see that to be a bigger and bigger category. Matter of fact, our numbers show there was a 3,000% increase in the number of people who clicked from the online to their card this year. So I mean, it's a tremendous growth category, and I think you're going to see it continue to get bigger and bigger. And I believe long term it's got the potential of impacting almost 15% of sales.
Right, Britt, very quickly, Overstock.com announcing today that it is going to accept Bitcoin currency. Is this the big trend that we should be looking at for 2014? Retailers getting on the Bitcoin bandwagon or accepting digital currencies?
Well, I think you're going to see all kinds of retailers chase all kinds of strategies. I will tell you one thing. Keep in mind one thing. Last year, 41% of consumers bought online. This year, the number is only 37.6. So you had fewer people buying online this year than last year, but more consumers who bought online bought more items online. So keep in mind, online is struggling, and they're going to try every strategy they can to get more of those customers back.
Okay, well, Bitcoin is certainly an interesting strategy. We're going to have to check in with you next year and see how things are shaping up in the first quarter. Thank you so much, Britt Beemer.
Thank you,
Chairman and founder of America's Research Group. Thank you.